I turned 59 this month. I've been retired for almost 6 months now. I've done some reflecting since I retired. I spent my whole life doing things I didn't want to do. Some of those were just things I thought I had to do. Some of them I thought I should do. Some I just thought were the right thing to do. But I'm done doing things I don't want to do anymore. My time on earth is limited. It's time I start doing what I want to do. I'm almost 60. I'm ready to do things that truly matter to me and stop doing things that don't. Life is too short to waste doing things you don't want to. I look back now and realize how much time and energy I wasted doing all of these things I didn't want to do. It's crazy. So there's 5 things I completely stopped doing when I retired. I should have stopped doing them before I retired, but better late than never. I mean, some things we have to do. You have to pay your taxes and you have to obey the laws if you don't want to go to jail, obviously. But I feel like I spent a lifetime doing things I didn't want to do. So here's my list of 5 things I stopped doing that I just don't want to do anymore. Number 1 is I don't hurry anymore. During my working years, there was always a sense of urgency. Mornings were rushed, work was rushed, evenings were rushed, weekends were rushed. I had to cram all of my home chores into the 2 weekend days. I can't even tell you how much of a hurry I was always in. I was not a patient person. I would get frustrated when traffic was slow in front of me, or even when people were slow in front of me. I would even get frustrated at stores when people in the aisles in front of me were going slow. I was just so impatient, but I don't feel that way anymore. It's crazy how different I feel about time now. I don't look at my watch for hours at a time. When I was working, I looked at my watch at least a couple times an hour. I've embraced a much slower, relaxed lifestyle. This allows me to have a relaxed attitude. I can enjoy retirement without necessarily trying to squeeze the most out of it. I feel like that's going to add years to my life. I feel nicer when I'm out in public now. I even let people cut in front of me in line. Why not? I have all the time in the world, especially if they look like how I used to feel. Number 2 is I stopped buying stuff. I feel like there's 3 stages of life: wanting stuff, accumulating stuff, and getting rid of stuff. I declutter every year, but I went through a really big purge right after I retired. I got rid of like 90% of my work clothes. I went through all my cupboards and closets and just got rid of tons of material things. I don't need that stuff anymore. I feel so much freer. My house even feels cleaner. I value people and experiences. Possessions are just physical things, nothing more. Our memories won't be lost when we get rid of stuff. When both my parents passed away, there was an enormous amount of stuff left behind that we had to go through, distribute, and get rid of. My parents grew up in the Depression and they hung on to everything. I vowed that I would not do that to my children. I want to collect experiences, not more stuff for my estate sale. Retirement made me want to simplify my life so I can enjoy my time. Number 3, I don't do stuff on the weekends anymore. First of all, I don't really think of weekends anymore. Every day's Saturday now. Yay! But in retirement, weekends and weekdays have kind of flipped for me. I definitely lay low on the weekends. I love doing things on weekdays when everyone's at work and there's no crowds or traffic. Everything is less crowded during the work week. The kids are at school and their parents are working. It's just so much nicer. Costco is a big no for me on weekends. The outside world is just so much nicer on weekdays. Weekends are for chores, doing projects around the house, and spending time with family. I try to stay out of the restaurants on the weekend too and leave that to the working people. Another change has been when I can travel. I can now travel during the week. It's usually much less busy and there's even cheaper airfares. It's also easier to plan last-minute trips when you can travel midweek. Weekends are now for keeping my head down while the working people swarm the roads, the restaurants, and the stores. Then Monday morning when the coast is clear, I can run my errands. Weekdays are the best time for retired people to get out there and enjoy themselves. I highly recommend it. Number 4 is I don't say yes to people anymore unless I want to. When I was younger, saying no often felt uncomfortable or even selfish. I worried that saying no would disappoint people or create tension. People will see that you have free time once you retire and ask you to do things for them. You can say no. My oldest son had me read the book Boundaries. The big picture was that setting boundaries is actually the kind thing to do. I always felt like prioritizing myself was somehow selfish. This book explained how setting boundaries is actually a kindness to others. As I've grown older, I've learned that boundaries are essential. They're not just about protecting my time. They're about preserving my energy, my peace of mind, and my happiness. This gives my yes way more meaning. When I say yes, it's something I truly want to do. Saying no is a way of honoring my time, my health, and my well-being. Now when I say no, I do it without guilt. It took me over 50 years to get to this point. I'm not rejecting people or being selfish. I'm just making a choice that supports my well-being. I've made peace with saying no when I need to. Number 5 is I don't watch the news anymore. I used to. I don't like it when people say it's your duty as a citizen to watch the news. I don't agree with that. It can be very skewed and biased, and it does nothing to enrich my life. The news actually has a negative effect on my mental health, which is why I stay away from it. I don't want to know all the horrible things that are happening. News can be bad for your health. I'm choosing to be okay with not knowing everything that's happening. I read enough to keep up with the weather and what's going on locally. Not watching news channels is not the same with not being informed or not knowing what's going on in the world. When something big happens, you end up hearing about it anyway. I believe my mental health is better because of this. I like being ignorant. I'm happier. The challenge in retirement is to reinvent yourself and to find a new purpose and meaning to keep you going. I worked my butt off for 40 years and I'm going to enjoy every remaining day on my terms. What things have you stopped doing? If there's anything you've stopped doing, feel free to leave a comment. If any of you are seeing me for the first time, hi, I'm Julie and this channel is Happy on Monday. Thanks for joining me. If you found this helpful, please like. And if you're interested in retiring early, consider subscribing. I'm going to leave you with a quote. You're allowed to outgrow people. This includes past versions of yourself. Hope to see you again soon.